What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Blacktop Podcast. Our audio is all figured out. Should be good from here on out. But boys, how we doing today?
Good, man, except for this crappy ass coffee, bro.
Hey, man.
Doing good.
We living, we living.
Hundies, Dundies. But man, let's get right into it. The in-season tournament. In Adam Silver, we trust. I mean, I don't know how y'all feel, but I think because that's what happens with anything that's new with the league. Because I remember a lot of people were thinking the play-in was going to be like trash. It's like, oh, you don't really want to give an opportunity to these guys that are already going to be out of the playoff already, and then now it's like you almost can't imagine the season with it. Same thing with like the in-season tournament. Not to like jump the gun on it, but you know, so far through one day, it's electric for sure.
Yeah, the stat about the average margin of victory, I think, was like 4.9 points differential. So that means games were close. It's funny because they jumped on that right away to have that in-season tournament propaganda, bro. Like just be like, just to sell it and just be like, hey man, it actually matters. Like, but I don't know. I feel like it's funny because we talked about this offline. Like the ambiance so far of like the in-season tournament, the new courts, you can tell there's a little bit of a different intensity.
For sure.
And then even when they decided to provide financial incentives for the coaches too, like if their team wins, that's kind of big, man. Like, because if you think about it, coaches probably don't get that. Obviously, they don't make as much as the players, and they probably don't have as many incentives out there that, like, you know, because they can't make the All-Star game, they can't win all these awards. There's like Coach of the Year and like maybe if you get into the playoffs, you get an extra whatever. But like the amount of incentives that they get throughout the year aren't as much as a player.
I feel like 500,000 to any player except those on like their second or third contract. That's good money.
Yeah, that's good money, man. And like that's a lot of good stuff. And so I don't know with the courts. I mean, we saw the games last night. Like they were intense, man. Like last night's games were good except for the Washington one because Washington sucks. But like,
true.
Yeah,
I can't believe we really let Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma be the face of a franchise.
Yeah, like I want to ask you guys about it. Like, how do you guys feel about the courts? Because personally, for me, I'm like a big fan. And
you go for it.
Yeah,
I personally like them for the most part. I think it really adds like a theme to the whole sort of in-season tournament. I would say like for certain ones, like they were a little bit of an eyesore. Like not terribly. Like I imagine watching it live is pretty dope, but like there was like a lot of times I watched I mostly paid attention to the Denver and Mavericks game yesterday. Just
That was a good game.
That was like what I caught, and like it was a good game. I think like it's just like such a weird blue on the court. Like maybe it's just like a nitpick thing, but I was like I was kind of tripped out by it a little bit. But it was dope. Don't get me wrong. I think I would have liked to see like, you know, from a graphic designer's perspective.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see like maybe more graphics on the court, but like keep the color of the court relatively neutral, because I think I couldn't really see a lot of the lines a lot of the time. But that's just like viewer perspective, and I was also watching it like I don't know on a big TV, so it's just that way. But I think overall it's been a dope thing going on so far.
Yeah. I think to that point, I feel like they're trying to keep it pretty vanilla for this first year.
Yeah.
But you know, same thing with maybe the play-in. Like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe, you know, 5 years down the road, we're looking like you're tuned in to the Hyundai Elantra NBA play-in tournament, or you know, you're tuned into the what's the thing that's like Sprite now that they advertise, but you know
Prime?
No. Anyways, but we're tuned into the Sprite in-season tournament. So I think they're keeping everything pretty vanilla, but I do think they're definitely going to look into, you know, seeing who's offering that back,
like increasing the advertisement and stuff like that. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I think you look at like what the NFL's doing, where the Thursday primetime game is hosted by Amazon Prime, and I think we might head into something like that, but maybe not because you got League Pass as well. But the NFL also has their thing, so I think that we're just going to see if Adam Silver's smart. He'll look into going down that avenue because, like, as Ruben was mentioning in the past, like, couple of weeks or so, viewership's going down because, like, not a lot of people are buying into cable.
Yeah.
So I think something like that's definitely in the works. But yeah, the court, fire.
Yeah.
I think it's all adding to the lore of what Adam Silver is trying to generate. That the games mean something. And I think the only short end of the stick is definitely some of the jerseys, like the Heat one.
Yeah.
That shit's so corny.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of bad jerseys this year that have just been released and announced.
The Atlanta one's like just Times New Roman.
Yeah. Like, you know what my biggest problem is? I feel like the jerseys lack so much creativity nowadays.
Definitely.
Like, do you think, like, I feel like you would probably appreciate this too, especially as a graphic designer. It's like they've gone too far down the minimalistic route.
For
where
some
it's like,
of them,
there's no creativity. Like, remember the old Houston Rockets jerseys with the lines, or do you remember the old Pistons jerseys?
Yeah.
Like, or the Raptors and the claw, or the Grizzlies, and like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many classic jerseys that I wish they would bring back those elements, versus like what they're doing now, where it's literally team name, color, and then the trim, and it's like, dude, that like we're just wearing pennies out there.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's like the best jerseys in NBA history have always been the ones that are just like the most out there. Like,
Yeah,
For sure.
ones that aren't like
old Suns
very
jerseys.
recognizable, you know?
Yeah.
The Suns jersey for the play or in-season tournament this year, I think, is fire though.
Yeah,
The El Valle, or however you would say it.
Like, I think to me, one of the best jerseys that has come out in a very long time that was like new era was, I forgot the era or like what it was for. Like, it was the Brooklyn Nets jersey that like,
Oh, the Bedstock one. I think that's what it's
the
called.
one that like
It's got like
D'Lo
the
was
Coogee
wearing.
vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fire
that might
jersey.
be
that
like
one's a fire
the
jersey.
best new jersey that's come out in a long. But that was like
Yeah.
4 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
I love that one. The Miami Vice one was cool
Yeah.
too. When they did Miami Vice colors, like that one was cool. Like the branding for the in-season tournament, I think they're heading in the right direction.
For sure.
I think like there's got to be a refinement. It's funny you talk about the advertising space because like I work in that space too, and they're definitely like I think advertisers are gonna start looking at the in-season tournament as a tentpole because it's like if they're gonna look for branding and they're gonna look for advertisers to sell on this tentpole, it's like how long is the in-season tournament? 67 games altogether, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like 67 games altogether for that period up until December 22nd or something like that.
That sounds
before
about
Christmas.
right.
So they're gonna have that, and it's like if you're gonna do an in-season tournament, like you gotta treat it like March Madness with all the advertising, right? And
For
like they're gonna have like different activations throughout like the tournament, whether it's like the halftime show or whether it's like the in-between periods on TV. Like I think there's gonna be so many different things. Like it would be cool if they did like some sort of like influencer reaction space, like let influencers commentate the game, like some sort of companion. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
I think they're definitely maybe not necessarily heading to it, but there's just a lot of things I think other leagues are doing, like the NFL, how you have the Manning cast.
Yeah.
I think like Quinn and Richardson and like some other guys sometimes do like
Yeah.
their own kind of commentary to that sense.
Showtime does it a little bit with KG and Paul Pierce. They did it
Oh
last year.
man, if KG and Paul Pierce commentated a game,
I would listen to that every game.
hell yeah.
I mean, they're heading in that direction. I think some teams are heading in the right direction. Like the Utah Jazz have their own subscription now,
Oh,
so you can watch all the games. So yeah, so the Utah Jazz. I think there's another team I can't remember where you pay like $178 up front, or you can pay it monthly for as long as the season goes, and you have access to all their games through their own streaming platform. They don't have a deal with cable anymore.
I think
I think they
Phoenix
do,
Phoenix
I
will
think.
probably head down that route too because
Yeah,
Ishbia took off all of the
I think
games
they
off
are
of
doing
Valley
that.
or whatever.
I can't remember, but basically, I would love if they went that direction because, like, Gen Zs, we're not watching, like, Gen Z and even the millennial generation, like, we're not watching the NBA through cable TV as much as anymore. Like, we're using League Pass streaming, legal streaming on.
Shout out to
Shout out to Reddit.
Shout out to Reddit.
shout out to Reddit.
But seriously though, like, it's heading that direction. I think the branding, going back to that, I think they're heading in the right direction to give it some intensity. It looks different. So like when the ambiance is different, like you're giving it a new energy.
Yeah.
And so I want to know what you guys think about like if the winner takes the in-season tournament. Tyrese Halliburton mentioned
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say
Yeah, I
we
was
gotta
like-
discuss that.
Yeah, so do you think the winner of the in-season tournament should be given a guaranteed 6th seed in the playoffs? Let's say because they can win throughout the year and they could end up still being first, but it just means it gives them the guarantee to be the 6th seed. So let's say they're 10th in the standings, but because they won the in-season tournament, they get the 6th seed.
I feel like personally that's a little much because I think you'd have to look at it from all extremes. Because like if you win the in-season tournament, and then you could theoretically just kind of cruise, play all the G Leaguers in a sense.
Yeah, that is true.
I think more so the one I liked was the idea of home court. I think
In the
guaranteed home
playoff?
court, yeah. But that's just another. I
Well,
think
if they do guaranteed home court, then means
like
they would
if
be
you're
a
the
top
6th
4
seed,
seed.
if you play the 3,
Yeah.
you get kind of screwed there, I guess. But
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I was even thinking like you have a guaranteed spot in the play-in at least. Like, and they would
I
put
think
you
that's
7th.
sensible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Because I feel like I like the idea of actually giving them the 6th seed guaranteed.
I think it could. I think play-in makes maybe sense. It's kind of like a wild card like tournament where like
For sure.
if you win, like, and your team for some reason, goes through a bunch of injuries and everything, you guys did secure that spot because you won that tournament.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of teams where they start the season strong and something happens. Like
Yeah. The Pels
the
last
Pels
year,
last
the Bulls that
Indiana
1 year.
last year too. Like,
Yeah,
Indiana
true.
started as one of the best teams in the East, and Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, and
They
they
fell apart.
they
Yeah.
fell apart. But when they are healthy, and same with New Orleans, like they could win a tournament like that. So I think to be guaranteed at least like maybe the number 8 play-in spot,
Yeah.
so that they can, or at least guaranteed 2 chances at a playoff spot when the team maybe is healthy.
That feels sensible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like depending on where your draft spot is, you get like an extra percent or 2 for the first overall pick. You get a little bit of.
I kind of
increased
like that. I
odds.
kind of like that because then also that allows a team like Denver to actually care. Because a team like that's cash strapped and hasn't necessarily been a long free agent destination gives them a chance at a high pick.
Yeah, boom. That's it.
Like they could do that. I mean, I think it could be a combination of things though. It could be guaranteed playing spot and an extra percentage on their draft lottery. I mean, obviously, let's say like that team finishes first in the West, which they will, right? So like they'll end up being 30th in the draft, right? So they won't like 14 to up is usually what it is, but maybe it's like if it were depending on where you finish, maybe you move up 3 spots in the draft or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a combination of incentives to make an organization actually care about the in-season tournament.
Definitely.
Because right now it's all finance.
I think
All
another. I
financial
think
based.
to that point too. I think one thing that's going to come out of it that we're not necessarily thinking of now. I feel like the winner of the in-season tournament is going to get a lot of national games next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be great, honestly. Just for the team's branding,
For sure.
I think so.
Or even as we head into expansion. Maybe not because like that's not as common, but like maybe the opportunity to protect one more extra player.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, that's the thing is that you can't use that incentive consistently. And,
Yeah, that's the one thing with
yeah.
that.
I know, like, I don't remember how exactly it worked, but when the NHL, and maybe they still do it, where they used to have those outdoor games. And
Something like that would
and
be
they,
fun.
and they did that, and I think the incentive to win those games was like that. I think whatever teams won got to like build, I think, a hockey rink or something in like the hometown. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure
That's dope.
the NHL did have like some sort of incentive around that. So I think it'd be good to like make it a charitable thing too. I think like that would be a good PR thing at least, and that would also
sure.
like bring in revenue in a sense where you're like every team has like a separate like home sponsor because OKC is a big team on like being charitable. Like I remember like just seeing a lot of that, and I'm sure every team has that sort of thing because it is a PR thing. But I think making that involved at least makes every team look good.
Yeah, and you're engaging the community, which allows you to like your own local community demographic that you need to support your home base. Yeah, and I think that's that's the biggest problem too. Is I think like overall we've seen how much ticket prices have increased for various teams.
Definitely.
Like I know specifically for Toronto, the lower bowl used to be filled with like the diehard fans, and that's why like the crowd has been known to be the
Now
crowd
they're
that
priced
it is.
out.
Like now it's parsed out. They're up in the upper bowl, and you got a lot of suit and ties in the lower bowl now. It's because like the average ticket is like upwards between $50 and $250. When it used to be affordable, like I was sat in the lower bowl for the Phoenix Suns and the Raptors game in 2020 when they were playing Denver, Phoenix, and Drake was there for Drake night, and I think I paid like $120 for lower bowl.
Damn.
Like,
Ooh,
you know what I mean? And it was a great game. It was a close game, and I got to see Book. I got to see Pascal like in his All-Star
that
year
was
in
2020 was that the
just
bubble year
before
or
the bubble. It was just before the bubble, just before that
Post-Kawhi.
crazy All-Star game.
that was when D-Book was like by himself and
Yeah.
fucking killing everyone.
Yeah, so I mean it was a good experience, and like I got to sit there and be around that crowd. But now you can't do that. Now if I were to go to Toronto and spend that kind of money, I'd have to sit in the nosebleeds, and I don't want to watch that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as like I'll never take an opportunity to watch a game for granted. Like, nosebleeds and lower bowl is a whole different ball game, right?
For sure. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, yo. I thought the idea of building a court would be a great incentive for
That
a
would be
ones tourney,
Oh, yeah.
because I think you can make that so that the NBA is like fully all year round basketball wise, rather than like as soon as June hits, you're thinking more so of like the trades and like
yeah.
potential free agents and stuff like that. But I think overall it's just great to see the game growing in terms of like these more outreach opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, again, the
creating new
play-in.
traditions.
Yeah, play-in everybody thought would be meh, but now we're seeing
It's massive, bro.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah,
play-in
it's sick.
is awesome. Yeah, the play-in has been so good because like the teams on the outside are like, this is a great opportunity. 7-8, it's like, frick, we should have been like they of course they want to complain and be like, oh, we should have a guaranteed spot based on history. But now you realize it's like, nah, man, we just got to be better next year and not put
Yeah.
ourselves in this position. So as an organization, you're like, damn, we can't fall into a play-in spot.
And yeah, that's because like I don't know, 40 some odd years ago, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ran the league. Like
Yeah.
maybe not 40 years ago. That's
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
Like the league
Actually, yeah,
the
40
league
years
used to be ran by like specific teams. Now it's like even though there are those teams, every team's competitive. Like the Spurs are
Yeah.
competitive right now.
every team in this decade's been a different team to win.
Yeah, that's insane to think about.
Yeah, and even I think I saw a stat. There's an international player on every roster.
Yeah, I mean the game is growing, and I like the in-season tournament. Branding wise, it looks good. The intensity, like if we talk strictly basketball, like you can just tell in the court there's a different energy.
Oh, definitely.
Like just watching the games yesterday and like watching the pieces and highlights of certain games. Like again, I was like Chin. I was mostly paying attention to the Denver Dallas game, but watch clips and try to insert as much information as I could from the other games. Like you could tell there's a different energy, man. When like I said, the energy changes when the ambiance changes when something's new. It's always like a deer in the headlights, right? So it's always something chaotic, right? And you just felt that last night. So I hope we see that energy for the rest of the tournament. Honestly, for all the group play.
I'm excited for sure. Alrighty, let's quickly. We didn't get to discuss the James Harden trade. Maybe not necessarily the ins and outs of it,
Yeah.
because I feel like the details now are all pretty like standard. But let's just look at it from a perspective of how you think each team's going to operate. I think in particular, let's start with the Clippers. James Harden's introductory presser was very telling of how he sees the 76ers as an organization, and also very telling of how he sees himself. So I think we'll start like this. How do y'all see them fitting together versus like kind of how James Harden is seeing himself? Because like for me personally, I feel like Russ still needs to be an initiator.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be something similar with how they're doing Steph and CP, where you let obviously Steph cook up and then you have that time where. So how do y'all think the Clippers are going to operate? Personally, I feel you got to do a little bit of let Russ and Harden run the team. So I think Russ will primarily be the initiator for the first unit. I think that's where James can get his catch and shoot off. But then once like you got to rest the starters, I think you kind of offset Harden's minutes so he can run with that second unit for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have the same the same luxury that Phoenix is gonna have. Hopefully, when all guys are healthy, where you're gonna be able to have one of PG, one of James, or one of Kawhi on the floor at all times. And I think that's gonna be really good for their team. But the difference is they've got quite a bit of good depth. I mean, they managed to get PJ back in that trade despite losing.
Forgot about PJ.
PJ's gonna be really solid for them. Just as he won't have as big of a role that he had to have in Philly, and being an older guy, he's going to play less minutes, but I think he's going to be more important around being able to defend opposing teams' best players, rebound the ball, and catch and shoot, and like the space. And I think the opportunity that a lot of the guys are going to have on the Clippers is going to be maximized to its fullest potential, because you're going to have three guys on the floor that are going to require so much defensive attention. And I think in this scenario, I think James is their third option.
Oh, no doubt.
But he could absolutely be their first option in terms of his ability to play make for others. But you can't load up on Kawhi because he is obviously really good at passing out of double teams. PG is a really good shot creator. Same thing with James, like his ability to create for others. And so I think that it's going to be. I think they have to make it work for sure. They'll have to figure out what to do with Russ on the floor at those times. I think Russ and James absolutely could work. It has worked before. James is such a good 3-point shooter and perimeter threat that it's going to work anyways. And if Russ gets downhill, that's like another massive option for the perimeter. So I think James being able to run with the second unit is great. I think Russ and James together is going to make for a really dynamic backcourt, despite their age. But again, they have that familiarity with each other. There's only enough Wilson to pass around, but I think they could make it work because we've seen before that most of the guys in the Clippers are fairly unselfish, and so I think I wouldn't say that anybody there is a ball hog necessarily. I think Russ is a guy who makes some bad decisions, but we see that he's obviously an unselfish player. I think PG has always been a really good. I think he's always been really good with or without the ball, and Kawhi knows how to make the right play when he's loaded up. But I don't know. I think it works to some degree, and I really like their depth. So I don't know. I just think the whole trade itself needed to happen. They needed to shake up the Clippers, and this is their one last push. I think with this roster, because I don't think if they don't win this year, maybe give them next year.
Bro, everybody needs a new contract after this year.
Yeah. So because let's say even if they were to extend Kawhi and PG, what do you have left to build around?
That second apron is going to get them.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel? Because I don't know. The Clippers, I think it works just from a talent standpoint and also from a system standpoint, because all the guys are fairly unselfish, and there's enough 3-point shooting. I just worry about the defensive end a little bit.
That's a good point.
I personally think their only issue now, and maybe this is saying a lot, but I think it's just how can we gel this team together enough to beat Denver?
Yeah.
Because I think they are the better team on paper now. I personally think there's so many ways you can play about having those 4 specific stars, because I would say all 4 of them can kind of mitigate any second unit. In my head, I don't even know if James Harden plays with the second unit. I almost think Russell Westbrook plays with the second unit.
Okay.
Just in terms of being a distributor to whoever is on the floor at that given time,
and also giving him room to operate.
Exactly, because I think James Harden, as much as it sounds good of him being on that second unit to be the main guy and also to get his, I think Russell Westbrook being the more unselfish player, like we mentioned, I think he kind of runs better in a second unit in that sense. But I think the reason why Denver is the best team in the West, and I think will continue to be until any team figures it out, is just because they have the best, they have the best gel. They have the best team chemistry. And I think no matter who you have on your team roster, I think we've seen, with all the teams that have won in the last few years, that it's really not a matter of, who's on the team. Of course it is, but
Yeah.
it's also how the team plays together.
No doubt.
And I think in order for them to figure it out, I think they're going to end up starting all four of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Pretty much throughout the whole season to really figure it out. And I think there's going to be a lot of experimenting with who gets subbed off first, who's like playing the 5. I think who's playing the 4 is going to be a huge thing. Because
Speaking of 5, do y'all think we see a Rockets kind of lineup where PJ starting at center?
I think there's an experiment with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Zubac is such a
Yeah.
anchor on that team,
Hmm.
and I think when it comes down to playing against any big in the league, I don't think, even with how good Kawhi and PG are defensively, I don't think they can afford to
Have
Yeah.
him on a 5? Yeah.
I guess we got to think. I guess we got to think about, like, if we're looking at the Western Conference.
I feel like the
like-
only team you can really play like that with is like maybe the Warriors.
Yeah.
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 Like the benchmark is Denver, and so you got to think why.
You can't play anybody under like 6'10".
Yeah, and like you got Zubac out there. I think this is a team that can match up well, considering Kawhi and PG, because those are fairly big wings. Now you got PJ Tucker, and then Zubac is a big, and like let's think about this for a sec. The Clippers have some crazy depth. Plumlee, PJ, Terrence Mann.
The fact they were able to keep Terrence Mann, I
Yeah,
think is the
but
biggest
I think
deal
he's the
here.
guy that definitely has to sacrifice the most, unfortunately, because I thought Terrence Mann was going to have a pretty good season this year, considering his role. But he's going to have to take a step back now and go back to the bench. And I'm still not sold on Bones Highland, to be honest. I just don't think that he's much of a. He hasn't been a net positive. Like,
I think
in his
he's
career.
just too. I don't want to say too street ball because that sounds kind of that kind of connotation, but
yeah.
I do think there is that sense of like he wants to get his, not really within the flow of the offense necessarily.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily make winning plays. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? And that's like that's why we talk so much about who's from that starting the big 3 that they've got. Like, who is going to be the guy that can manage, who can manage the playbook and can manage the team on the floor. That's why James makes the most sense. Also, a guy like Kawhi, because just of the talent that he is.
You know who's a guy that I think is gonna get back into the rotation on this team? Amir Coffey.
Mm.
I think Amir Coffey's a guy that like showcased his chops in the past couple of years, got his bread, but then considering you had the likes of a Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, Rocco, proven veterans, even the fact that you're working hard is kind of hard to choose. Like, especially the way that team's made up, it's hard to kind of usurp those guys, but he's a guy I think could crack back into that rotation.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go deep in the rotation for him to start to play, but I think they will. I think this is a team where you have to go deep in the rotation and try different stuff, because Harden is such a good game manager when the ball is in his hands that, like, we've seen it for how many years that he makes like the worst guy on the team. Like, he's the reason why Daniel House still has a contract in this NBA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, I mean, like, he can shoot the ball.
That's facts though.
But like, right, look at these guys that can shoot the ball. Like, he's a guy who extended the careers of Gerald Green and Eric
PJ
Gordon.
Tucker too.
Yeah, Eric Gordon, right? Like, James Harden made these guys like find homes in the NBA.
James Harden got a lot of brothers paid.
Yeah, he did, man, because he made everybody look good, right? And I think that's because he's so good with the ball and creating mismatches and creating advantages. Like, and that's, I think, what the Clippers missed, because you have so many great shot creators and shot makers. And Russ is the same thing, but like the lack of his perimeter shooting doesn't really allow him to have that advantage versus like when he was in Oklahoma City, when the ball was in his hands strictly like 95% of the time.
He was still a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, James Harden, the reason why like people have to play man to man when he's on the floor is because he can make his shots. Like, he can take the ISO if nothing's open. Whereas Russell Westbrook, you'll give the brother space respectfully.
Respectfully, yeah.
And you can double PG, or you can double Kawhi. But now it's much scarier because with James Harden facilitating the ball, everyone's gonna have to guard their man. But
you can't cheat anymore.
But like,
you can't cheat,
if he passes it out to PG to play the ISO, like, whoever is playing the ISO against PG, they're getting cooked. Maybe
they legitimately have like 3 of the best ISO players at the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is, they have like less unselfish or more unselfish ISO players than
Yeah,
say
good
a
point.
Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant, respectfully to them. Like I think the reason that experiment didn't work out is just because those players don't know how to share the ball as well as PG and Kawhi do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Russell Westbrook James Harden guard screen action because like that worked really well in Oklahoma City, and it worked like we saw it more in Houston. But that guard screen, if James is bringing the ball up and Russ is either crashing, slipping, or he's fading out, like the defense has to make a really quick play versus like when you're doing a small to big PNR screen, like a PNR play. Most of the time, the big is just in the drop, or he's blitzing it. But in this kind of play, when a small slips, like it's a quicker reaction point. So it's like they have to make that play quicker. And James is so good at managing like and reading the defense, where it's like if the guy's gonna sag off, like we've seen him so many times just step back and take that three, or if guys are gonna load up on him, Russ is so good at catching the ball and making it a play downhill. So it's like I think that's going to be really exciting because they also can't load up on Russ if he does that, because you've probably got PG, you got Kawhi, PJ Tucker, Norman Powell. You have so many perimeter threats, and Zubac is really good at finding his way into the dunker spot. Like just from if you look at the court, I think with James, he's going to have so many options to create mismatches on the floor.
And it's a lot of high IQ guys.
Yeah, a
That's
lot
the
of high
biggest
IQ
part, I
guys.
think.
They're absolutely going to know where to be on the floor at all times. So it's like, I think it's really interesting. People are talking about it like, oh, it's not going to work. There's only one ball. But it's like, you have to realize that James Harden is like one of the premier game managers ever to play the game. Ever. Because it's like I think he should have been able to win an MVP.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
respectful. If I wasn't a Bucks fan, I would say he kind of
Yeah.
deserved that one.
Yeah.
35 a game in this
Yeah.
era, disgusting.
What did he average? Like 35, 10, and 7 or something like that? Or like
That sounds pretty close. It might have been 35 and 8, but man.
brother. James is insane. So, anyways, again, we've had this conversation about
Saying what, Monday is when he should make his debut?
Yeah, so he practiced with the team on Friday, like that was announced, and so he was also going through conditioning while he wasn't playing with Philly, like while they were on the road.
Yeah.
So I think it's likely that he plays Friday. I don't know, for the people that have him on fantasy teams, I don't know if you start him for sure.
Yeah.
You never know. But I think they're just trying to make sure
Ramp him up.
Yeah, ramp him
Oh,
up and make
man.
sure he's ready to play.
That's okay. He go take the fat suit off. He go come in.
He'd probably stayed in shape, dude.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like people talk so much crap about.
James Harden.
Yeah, but I'm sure the dude's an NBA player, makes multiple like he's been able to step in any situation and just play well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't really think people understand how good of a player he is right now. Because he's been on the decline per se, because he's not playing the way he did.
he's still an all-star. He's still an all-NBA
But
caliber player.
he's averaging more assists than he ever has in his career.
Yeah.
And that speaks a lot to how his game has changed. But he's still able to average a cool 22 points per game too. Obviously in this era, especially with how many 20-point per game players is that's impressive still.
Yeah, 100%.
No doubt. Let's look at it from the other point of view with the 76ers. So, a lot of role players, a lot of good role players. Ruben was kind of alluding to it off camera, but yeah, I think we're all in agreement that, these guys are cool, but they're definitely gearing up for some kind of move, for sure.
They're moving him at the deadline.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Maybe not Rocco.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I'm gonna just check something real quick, but keep it going, Ruben, bro. Let's hear who you think they're got their eyes on.
Depending on how the rest of the season goes, I might have to. Let's make sure everything is all right. We got the audio. All right. Depending on how this season goes and what this team will look like by Christmas Day or by January, I think Philly flips all of the draft capital and expiring deals to Chicago for Zach LaVine.
Damn.
Oh man, that would be box office.
I think that's what happens, and I think Zach and Maxey in the backcourt complement each other.
I'm not gonna
really
lie,
well.
Zach is so slept on now.
He is so slept on, but the dude is. I think it's just because of the fact that Chicago has a team that just doesn't.
They just
make
don't
sense.
win.
Yeah, they don't make sense anymore because without Lonzo on that floor, like he's the pure game manager. Like Kobe White is not a game manager, and
He's had a good resurgence though. You got to give him some kind of props.
yeah.
But I know what you mean. Lonzo was. Wow.
Lonzo slept on too because obviously he's been injured for the last 2 years. But brother, Lonzo when he stepped in and played for Chicago that first half of his first year, that team was first in the East.
They were,
and there's a damn good reason.
That team was so much fun to watch.
They were so much fun, and Lonzo made that whole thing happen. Lonzo is special, and I think without him, you can clearly see that this team is disconnected.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about this last podcast. Like, without that, this team sucks. And they just don't make sense without the game manager. And I think we're using that term a lot in this because we're talking about guys who can run a team. And, yeah, I don't know. Zach and DeMar, the fit's not really there anymore without that game manager. I think Vooch has definitely run its course being in Chicago. I think that, we said it in our tier maker last week. Like, I think this team should absolutely blow it up. And I think Zach is the first piece to fall, probably. And for me, it just makes the most sense for him to be in Philly.
Oh, no doubt.
It's a pretty good evaluation, I'd say. I think Zach LaVine is probably a player that's available.
Yeah.
I think he definitely adds the right, dynamic to that team, given that he can play well off the ball. He's I would say, he's in the realm of prolific three-point shooters, even people don't, see his game that way.
Yeah.
He's evolved for sure.
Yeah, and he also obviously knows how to get his own on the inside. I think might be underrated in terms of how good he is on the inside. I think at this point because everyone just shits on Chicago and with fair reason. But yeah, I see that trade making sense.
I just think he's a perfect fit, man, because you throw it in the post, Zach LaVine is a perimeter threat that you can't double off of one pass away. He can create for himself, and I think in terms of a guard duo, Maxey and LaVine, the athleticism in the open court.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? And I think Zach will complement Maxey so well because Zach doesn't necessarily need the ball. He's such a good off-ball threat that Maxey can start the action. He can push it down, and when he gets downhill, Maxey's one of the fastest players in the league. They can both create their own. But again, he's not a James Harden that requires a ball in order for it to happen, where you can see that Maxey is able to hold his own as a game manager, and Zach can play off of that, and vice versa. And then obviously when you have Joel as your main core piece of your offense, there's a lot of opportunity for some really high-end DHOs with Zach LaVine and Joel. We've seen it. When we've seen really good shooting guards who can shoot the ball, there were JJ Redick and Joel's two-man game in 2019 was awesome, and Zach has an opportunity to replicate some of that success. So,
hey,
yeah,
you'll get no pushback from me. I think for me personally, I always cheer for a lot of the Washington State guys, because that's the closest thing we got outside of guys like Brandon Clark or Lakers legend Robert Sacre. But moving on from there. Let's get into just some overall reactions from these first week and a bits of the season, whether it's a surprise, a disappointment, or you want to give someone some flowers, just, throw it out there.
Here, let me answer this one.
Yeah, Ruben's got to answer the door real quick. Christian, man, you want to throw out one?
I think I was astounded because I haven't even been paying attention to them, and I didn't realize how bad they've started, but Memphis starting 0-6.
Yeah.
I think people, to preface, if you're listening, that there was a lot of talk about Memphis being good without John Morant. Just because when he was injured for that last portion of the year, or
he
was he suspended? Was it?
I think it was a mix of. The last 2 years ago was because he was injured.
Yeah.
Last year was because of the suspension. But overall, I think their record's slightly above 500 when Jaw's out.
Yeah, people were saying they don't really need John Morant to be a good team, and all of a sudden they start 0-6, and you realize
You got guys crying after the game.
Yeah,
last night.
Varro,
you realize that the player that gets you a bucket at will is actually important. Like, no shit. But they've started, I think worse than people have expected to. Because, I mean, Desmond Bain is putting up like 25 a night, and they're losing games.
He's on a heater, man.
They got Jaren Jackson Jr. putting up 27 and 10 a night. They're still losing. Marcus Smart started off pretty good. They're still losing. So obviously, what has been wrong in the formula is that their best player is not playing.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that'll quiet up some people that think John
I
Morant
feel like
is
a
not
big
that guy.
reason for that, because we forget that Tyus Jones was on that.
Yeah,
been
that's
on that
true
team
too.
for a while. And
Yeah.
Tyus Jones, like, if you want to consider just a pure point guard, he's top
Best there
five.
is. Yeah. Best there is.
But I think if you want to call it a moral victory, a lot of their games have been close.
Yeah.
A lot of them have definitely been within striking distance. Desmond Bain has been looking really good. Jaren Jackson, I think you want to ask for a little more like consistency. Marcus Smart, though, I think he's like a perfect, like, opposite of OJ Simpson. Perfect fit.
Yeah. He's a perfect fit if Ja was there.
Yeah.
And I also think like we don't talk enough about the importance of Steven Adams.
Oh,
Like, on
Yeah,
that team.
because I feel like a lot of us thought they'd be decent, but that was with the idea that you're only really missing Ja.
Yeah.
Steven Adams throws a big wrench in that, because
Yeah.
that's one of the best rebounders in the league.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially when Jared Jackson Jr. being one of the worst
Bro,
rebounders.
that's absolutely
disappointing.
inexcusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you 6'11", block guy, but then like you can't grab a rebound? Personally for me, I don't know how y'all feel it. What do you think is more valuable? A rebound or a block?
A rebound.
A rebound,
Right?
absolutely, because you
Absolutely.
secure your possession, right?
100%.
Yeah. A rebound can be the difference between like minus 3 points or plus 3 points.
Absolutely. A
And
block,
a
I
6-point
think,
turnaround.
a block's cool and all, but it's definitely more of like a aesthetic
luxury.
/ like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only guy that I remember blocks being so, for example, like, if the offense comes downhill and you're like, oh my god, I'm not going there. Like, the only guy that I can remember that ever being a major deterrent was Dwight Howard.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why he
The
was
way Dwight blocked shots was absolutely.
Well, yeah, and he was a fantastic rebounder. But that's the difference, is like these great defensive players, big men, high blocks, high IQ defensive positioning, like what were they great at? Really good, like, defensive rebounding.
Yeah.
Draymond, like,
Even
obviously.
Rudy Gobert too.
Yeah, exactly.
In his best.
Oh yeah, like, what was he, a 3-time defensive player of the year?
Yep. Hall of Famer.
There's a reason why, because he's absolutely. I mean, we should have that conversation. I think he is.
Missed the
because-
6 first-round picks.
Yeah,
I think it depends on how his career ends at this point.
I don't know.
How,
I don't think it's gonna end up well.
It's a media thing. I think like if he
Yeah.
doesn't really go anywhere, and I don't think it will end well. I think he could get snubbed for not being a Hall of Famer player. But like
Yeah.
that's another conversation.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, like, talking about defensively, like, you absolutely need someone who's, if they're gonna block shots, it needs to be a deterrent. Like, it absolutely needs to be a game plan thing where it's like, damn, like, teams are actually unsuccessful getting to the paint, and sure, you can average 5 blocks, but like, is your level of interior, like, let's say your paint offense, are you really impacting it defensively as much as another team? And then are you closing the possession, right, with the rebound? So it's like, that matters. And I just remember Dwight Howard being that guy. So I don't know, like, yeah,
Shout out to Dwight.
yeah. Shout out to Dwight. But yeah,
Except
Oh, no,
for
man.
not the recent Dwight. Anyways, Ruben, bro, you got anyone you want to give some flowers to, or something that's been disappointing to you?
like as a team or players,
Whatever.
what's disappointing
We're just
me
gonna
right
do
now?
this like kind of open forum stuff.
So you guys touched on Memphis, right? So
Yeah.
let me open because I missed the opening part. A team that has disappointed me. Okay, you know what? I'll say a team that has surprised me, and I'll say a player, Derek Lively. Dude, he's been awesome. Like, obviously the loss last night, but opening 4-0, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it. We were like, I thought this team would be mid as hell, and then Derek Lively comes in, and he's like absolutely what Luka Doncic needs on this team. And maybe if he was in this third year, then I'd actually be like, this team is a real contender. But so far they've surprised me. Derek Lively looks really good, and I think he's gonna be a young player to watch out for in this league.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's special. I think he's a perfect PNR partner for Luka, and I think he really does a great job complimenting Kyrie as well.
If he gets more confident with that three, it's over.
Yeah, it's absolutely over because then like he's doing everything that Dwight Powell does, which is what's made him such a valuable player to their team, to being a guy that's like, oh, you realize you're actually kind of mid on this team, and it's like Derek Lively does everything so well, and if he is if he can open up his game to the the perimeter shooting, it's hard to guard this team because and I think Luka is on his way to his first MVP.
That or clutch. He's made a lot of big time shots so far early into the season.
So, Dallas has definitely been a surprising team and a fun one to watch. And Derek Lively, for sure, I'll give him my flowers.
Yeah, him and Jaden Hardy too, I'd say.
Yeah, Jaden Hardy was good, man.
Maybe it's more that I saw him come alive in that game yesterday.
Yeah, he had like two back-to-back threes or something late into that game.
And honestly, like if that was a regular season game where it was like no in-season tournament, I think they would have put in the subs like in the fourth quarter because they were like in poverty. But I think Luka really
they brought that game back. That was pretty surprising.
Because I didn't even expect them to bring that game back because like they just had no answer for Denver. But they brought it close, I will admit.
Yeah, it was a fun watch. My disappointment.
I got one. We can all harp on this. I'm gonna give you this man splits. 27, 23, and 62. Who y'all think I'm talking about? The king of body language.
Is it Julius Randle?
Julius Randle. Man, just weak, bro. That's like the only word you can describe it as right now. Weak.
He's got tour dates on his box score.
For real. Like, I think the thing is just like
5'10", 5'14".
You've heard you see like him and Jalen Brunson bickering a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because Julius, he doesn't want to relinquish the fact that he can't live with the fact that he's not the guy. Jalen Brunson is like, I think last year he got snubbed for All-Star.
Yeah.
And he's undoubtedly kind of like shown that, hey, I'm one of them ones.
Yeah.
Dropped, I think it was like 44 against the Bucks last night.
Jeez.
Yeah. Almost choked that game.
Yeah.
But Julius Randle, I think Ruben was mentioning, there needs to be a case study because, so far the pattern's remaining true. Got one good year, regress.
Yeah.
Get back to it. And right now, he's making everything seem very true about that. But, I think, I don't want to even say he'll regress or get back to like some kind of like medium, but
it's has been good enough, man.
Yeah. Like
he's been a net negative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is because I think it's just like when you really watch him, because I've seen a few New York games or at least watched a good amount of what he's doing. It's like he takes these really weird short twos where like he almost floats it up. That's not like a game of like his stature that he should be playing,
Yeah.
Like he really should just be like willing the ball into the into the fucking net,
Yeah, he should be bully balling.
Yeah. And if it's not that, it's like him like kind of heating up from three. Like that's how he's been getting his own in the last few years, but he's not doing either of that. He has been putting up threes and they haven't been dropping. So I think there will be a regression to the mean in that sense. But
yeah, there's some kind of.
But I think like beyond that, like his like way of getting to the hoop right now is just like very like passive. And I think it's maybe because he feels like he doesn't like when the ball's in his hands because he has that second star now, he can just like try to do whatever he does and like probably like if he misses, like, oh, Jalen's gonna go get a few for us, like it's okay if I miss, but like I think he needs to be more like just offensively aware that he's still a big piece on the team, even if he's not number one.
Yeah, I think he just kind of needs to reinvigorate himself as like a leader of the team, not the guy of the team.
Exactly.
Because there was one possession in yesterday's game against the Bucks where, Jalen shot a shot. He kind of gave like, bro, why are you shooting that kind of like attitude or whatever? And he walked back on defense. And it led to, Chris Middleton blitzed the ball up the court. And he had like a whole kind of open space where he could have taken a shot. But because Julius Randle's not back there to guard his man, there was a free, airway to the paint for Dame, and Dame, like, obviously is going to finish that.
Yeah, it's the game. Yeah. Julius. I just don't think the fit's there anymore, too, though.
I was gonna say I feel like his time might be up.
I don't know where he'd go though, because he's such an interesting player. Like, he doesn't have that much of a perimeter game. He reminds me so much of a lesser athletic Zion. Where
Speaking of Zion,
it very much has to be catered around him.
Could he ever go back to New Orleans, Julius Randle?
That would be a bad fit, in my opinion. I think it'd just be like clunky.
I feel like his game's just overall clunky.
Yeah.
It's not, he needs to have shooting around him.
Yeah, but I think if there's a team that can make a splash for a big name player, I think New York's up there because they got a lot of picks.
Yeah, they got a lot of picks. They got a lot of young talent. They could absolutely make something happen.
I don't know. I still believe in him being able to fit there. I think it's really just his morale is really bad right now. And obviously that speaks to maybe him not wanting to be there.
Yeah.
Or him, not enjoying the game. But
not enjoying that team that he's on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think that team has graced him with a lot, and I think I'm not saying he's ungrateful or anything like that, but I don't really see a system right now in the NBA off the top of my head where he just fits in. They have built a lot around him still, even with because honestly giving him a player like Jalen Brunson, it just allows for him to you think would flourish more.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck was facilitating to him before? Alfred Payton.
Honestly, yeah.
RJ Barrett, they didn't have a point guard, and now that he's a part of that system, he has that pick and roll guy or he has that dish out guy, he's kind of making the least out of it right now.
Definitely.
I feel like it's funny. I feel like Randall could be really great alongside a guy like Trae Young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if Atlanta and New York made a trade. That'd be hilarious. Considering the bad battles recently.
DeJounte Murray.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
DeJounte is kind of reinvigorating himself.
Yes,
He's been hooping.
Yeah, he's hooping. I think they managed to figure out the fit there, but Trey's also struggling on the other end. So.
Yeah, but their team, I think
they're
going to be a second half team. I
think they're going to be in line to make a move too. They got some assets that I think they're going to move. I think if there's one that I feel is inevitable unless they change things around is Pascal to Atlanta. So, I mean that was rumored all summer long. So, we'll see what
Only
happens.
Pushback I would have for that is just kind of selfishly Jalen Johnson's been really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean if they're going to try and win, they would give up Jalen Johnson for a guy like Pascal.
Yeah.
So I think as an organization, depends what direction they're going to go in because, Jalen Johnson's good, but he's no Pascal.
True.
So I think if they're going to if they want to win this year, they gotta maximize on some of the assets to get some, great player back. But the problem is Pascal was not willing to sign an extension with any other team other than Toronto. Quickly on Toronto, flower to Dennis Schroeder because he is balling. He's balling. So he's carried that momentum in from the World Cup.
He's kind of he's giving the Lauri Markkanen post international basketball vibes.
I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an All-Star game if Scotty doesn't this year.
No, come on now.
Okay.
Bro, he's averaging 17, 5, and 8 or 9 right now. And Toronto has to win. They have to.
If it's based on conferences, respectfully, he ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, because they have to. Okay, if Scotty's absolutely, I think, gonna make it this year. If he continues his play.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna make it this year. And I'm just saying, if they manage to be a number 2 seed in the East, then I would give Schroeder a chance.
I'm gonna name some names. Tell me if you're taking Dennis Schroeder or this guy, Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, for sure you're taking Maxey.
Jalen Brunson.
You're taking Brunson.
Damian Lillard.
Of course, yeah. You're taking Lillard.
Luka Doncic.
No, I mean you're going from the East. You're going to the East.
Yeah, right.
Drew.
No, not right now. Too many All-Stars on that team.
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe some kind of replacement, but
yeah, I mean I'm just saying he's playing at All-Star level because again we could talk about position and roster spots in the All-Star game, but within this 5-game sample he's averaging similar numbers that Kyle Lowry did in his All-Star years, so I think that's something just worth talking about. I mean Kyle averaged 20 and 7 and 15 and 16. And I think one year he was averaging 16 and 8. I mean, he made the All-Star games for several years.
Dennis Schroeder ain't got no wagon like Kyle Lowry, though.
Yeah, but he's definitely faster. Yeah, it's funny. Toronto. Schroeder's the fastest point guard they've had since T.J. Ford.
Damn.
Holy TJ Ford. That is a 2K name.
Yeah, that's a 2K name, right? But I don't know. Schroeder's been balling. I'll just say that.
He has been.
In that same vein, Scotty, man. Holy. I was watching
Yeah.
that Bucks game. That was a hard watch for me as a Bucks fan. But
Yeah, he kind of destroyed Giannis.
oh, yeah. they definitely fell for it. Which, we'll get into it in a bit. But Scotty overall has just been like,
insane.
He's been confident.
Yeah.
He's been confident.
Bro, that he took the shot and just walked back. That was cold.
Yeah. He's killing it. He's averaging like 21, 10, and 6 or something right now with like 3 blocks.
I think that's like the ideal Scotty line.
Yeah, and I think he's got more room to grow in the offensive end. I think he's going to end up being a 25-plus point per game scorer because his perimeter game is growing a lot. And 20 points looks really easy to him at this point.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, he's hitting threes at a high clip right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's he shooting right now?
Let's look at his percentages, but he's taking them and he's making them.
I think that's the main thing because I think year one, it was kind of similar to where Giannis is now, where he'll make a few, but overall, it's like if you take them, you're bailing out the defense. But now it's like you really got to account for that.
From 3, he's shooting, for the regular season, he's shooting 39% from 3 this year.
Bro, yeah,
That's
Scotty.
insane. Yeah.
Scotty too hotty, man.
Yeah, that's close to 40%. He's shooting 4 or 5% above league average.
I personally think the Raptors could be in a good position if they can just, in my opinion, move one of either OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam.
They need to just diversify.
Something needs to happen. Yeah.
I think they need to solidify their game plan and who that first and second option is, because Scotty is at a level where if he just had a partner, which I don't think he has right now.
He needs a Chris Middleton.
Well, it should.
I'm not saying actual Chris.
I think
not actual Chris Middleton, but
I think the problem between Pascal and Scotty is and it reminds me so much of the Rudy Gay DeMar DeRozan era. It's 2 really good wings. Like right now, Pascal is an All NBA player. Scotty's going to be an All NBA player. I think he might be an All Star this year. But not like Scotty has a more consistent perimeter game than Pascal right now.
Scotty's that guy.
And so when your next guy, it's supposed to be Pascal, Scotty, whatever 1A, 1B is. One of the two has to be a great shooter.
For sure.
And someone has to be a perimeter threat there. And Pascal right now is not doing that at a high clip. I also don't think he's hunting for his offense enough within this new 0.5 offense.
He's passive.
Yeah, he's very passive.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was labeled selfish by Masai during the offseason, so that didn't help. I just think, if for me as a fan, I think Pascal moving on would be great for his career, find a new winning situation, get some assets back. And I think Toronto could still be competitive this year with or without Pascal, because I don't think the fit is there with him anymore. Pascal to Indiana for Andrew Nembhard, Daniel Tice, and Buddy Hield, and a first-round pick. Done.
Would that money match?
It does in the trade machine. So let me tell you right now.
Yo,
Indiana with Pascal, Miles Turner, Andrew,
Benedict
Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton.
Ooh, that's a nasty.
Obi
team.
Toppin.
That's a good team. Bruce
That
Brown.
is a nasty team.
Yeah, Bruce Brown. And then Toronto gets Buddy Hield, some shooting. Andrew Nembhard, their future point guard. And then Daniel Schroeder's
Bro,
gold.
Andrew Nembhard, that would be.
I think he's going to be dog, bro.
Andrew Nembhard's a dog.
How would you feel, even though, timeline is questionable, how would you feel about Zach LaVine going to your team?
Ooh.
I would love Zach LaVine on the Raptors. I think he's a
I
good
just
fit.
want to see Zach LaVine play some meaningful basketball. Personally.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been on some pretty crappy teams, man. I think they only had one good year. Yeah, he has. So I would love him on the Raptors.
Do y'all remember when he got drafted? They panned him. Was like, oh fuck. when he found out he was going to Minnesota.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. He was
Holy.
nobody wants to go to Minnesota. I'm sorry. Y'all lucky y'all had Kevin Garnett.
Oh man.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, I think, could be.
Kevin Garnett didn't go to there. That could have been Vancouver's new team. Just saying.
Oh, true. God damn.
Anyways, a disappointment for me, man. Milwaukee, respectfully.
I was gonna ask you.
Not looking good right now.
Yeah, I think it's just the ebbs and flows of a new coach. I think I've seen a lot of overreactions. A lot of people saying, AJ Griffin was the wrong hire. I think you just got to give it some time for sure. And again, I think that again goes with like the highs and lows of the ceiling. But overall, I think this team just seems just very passive overall. Like they kind of play to their level of their competition, if that makes any sense. Because like the first game against Philly, that's a top tier team in the East. You're obviously going to show up for that. And then, with all due respect, which when you play the Raptors, there wasn't that same level of intensity. And that's what allowed them to get blitzed by 20 in like the first quarter. And then kind of similar with the Atlanta game, they got blitzed. So I think this team is just very makes sense because I guess they're old, but they're just a very slow starting team. And then one of the big things that everybody's saying on Twitter is that they need a guard defender. But respectfully, I think we have the personnel to do that. They're all calling for like Alex Caruso, but
I mean, that would be nice.
That would be nice too. But I do think a guy like Marjan Beauchamp has showed his chops to where I feel like he should be starting. Malik Beasley is cool, but I like him more as like an off the bench like scorcher. Pat Connaughton's cool, but same thing. But one person I really want to see is Andre Jackson. I think he's one of those guys that's coming from a very successful UConn program. He gives very much kind of like the grittiness of PJ Tucker in terms of like diving for loose balls, doing the dirty work. I do get those kind of vibes from him. But overall, I don't want to overact too much, but I would say the Bucks have been disappointing to this point, solely because I feel like they're playing very lackadaisical basketball right now.
I think Giannis and Dame just gotta stop sucking each other off.
What?
Sorry. No, you know what I'm trying to say though, right?
Yeah, I know what
I'm trying to say. Because these guys are coming in the game like, oh, who's the man? Who's the man? Who's the man?
Yeah.
Like that's and how they're playing as a team right now is like everybody's passive because nobody wants to take the helm. And I think Giannis did a disservice to himself by saying it's Dame's team. Giannis is the best player in the world outside of Jokic right now.
Yeah.
Like, bro, take the helm and you run the ship. Dame is there to help you. Like, and Dame complements Giannis's game and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Giannis's team.
I mean, this is a question for you, DJ, because I obviously haven't watched a lot of the Bucks, at least extensively. But do you feel that maybe there's a lack, maybe of like sets around who controls the ball at what point? Like,
yeah, I think the one thing I've noticed so far. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Was there any more to your question?
No, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of, oh, you go, no, you go,
Yeah.
no, your turn, game.
Yeah.
Okay, Giannis, let's go. So I do think that that goes a lot. We're clipping this, but I think it does go a lot into.
Yo, don't laugh, man.
Yeah, they stop glazing each other
Respectfully, man.
But I just think it just goes into the flow of like.
Gat.
Whenever you're. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Yo.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
Sorry, that's a little inside joke.
No, man.
But I just think whenever you have like a superstar, like someone to the level of usage that they're used to, like Dame, there's obviously going to be a lot of gelling. Personally, I feel like we're not going to see what this team's like until December, January.
Yeah.
So, to be where we're at right now, it's kind of where I expected them to be. But I do think there needs to be, like, I think Giannis and Dame need to establish a kind of timeline where it's like, okay, early on, we want to get the long ball game going. So, you let Dame run off a lot of screens, do a lot of pick and pops with that. And then once you establish that, then you can go into, like, Giannis, rolling, whether I'm throwing you the lob or passing it over the top. I think they just need to establish more of a game flow together. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes a lot into having like a young coach or an experienced head coach in AJ Griffin, where, it's a whole different ball game stepping up from an assistant coach to a head coaching job. And I think he's definitely like capable of doing it. But again, these are just all, the ebbs and flows of the NBA season. I think that, they're going to figure it out. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But I just think it's gonna take until Like, I think if they're still looking like this, maybe 20 to 25 games into the season, then I might start to hit the panic button a little bit. But,
Yeah.
5 games in, I think this is what was expected, but they'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah, I think there's two simple things. I think Dame needs to just hunt for his shot, like he always does, because that's where he's made a living. And I think Giannis just needs to take the helm and look to attack. Like right now, he looks really passive, and again, like establishing a game flow is so important. But then I think they just need to play their games, man. They just need to go out there and hoop. They just gotta do their thing, and I think like everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I definitely had the note written down. I think they're only really operating at like 60% of what they're capable of right now.
Yeah,
So,
they'll get to know each other a little bit more on the court, and I think, give it 10 to 15 games, and I think they'll start to find their niche. I'm not worried about the Bucks.
no doubt.
Yeah,
All right, Flowers. Who y'all want to throw them out to?
Kristaps Porzingis,
Yeah.
Yes.
Tingus Pingus.
Glaze
man.
them up, Christian.
I mean, to be honest, they just look immaculate right now.
So good.
Like,
Boston looks scary.
Like we were messaging about this, like, off camera too. But like when they played the Wizards, they like made the Wizards look like a. And like, you know what, the Wizards are
That
kind of
is a G League
it's
team.
kind of a G
yo.
League team. But like, if I'm being honest, like they just outclass like everyone they've been playing right now. Like, I don't even have like a concern of if they're gonna lose a game right now. Like I think they're on a level of like, and today I think they might lose for the first game just because they're missing Derek White.
They go get a Cam Thomas. They go get a
They
Cam
might get
Thomas.
they might get torched by Cam Thomas because they are missing like I think one of their best and maybe their best defensive piece like in Derek White just because of how much he's been anchoring the team.
Yeah.
But I think they've like really just been like I think eager to win every game.
Yeah, I will say though, I think today's a Kristaps game
It could be a Crystal
because
I hope so. It's my fantasy team.
Oh
I
yeah.
traded Joel for him and DeRozan.
What?
And a future pick.
You traded
Oh, okay.
And the future.
Okay, run the trade.
Okay, so the trade was I traded OG Anunoby, Joel Embiid, and a 6th-round pick for Kristaps Porzingis, DeMar DeRozan, and a 1st-round pick. So I get 2 first-round picks next year,
Pick is good.
and my keeper next year is Jimmy Butler.
Oh.
So I know Joel's been going off, and people are like, why'd you make that trade? And I'm like, because like now I'm gonna get 3 All-Stars to start next season.
Okay,
So,
I feel that. I feel that.
And I love Kristaps. I might even think about keeping him.
But yeah,
for next
overall,
season.
I think when you look at how they're going to play against the Nets today, the Nets aren't going to have any kind of big. Like, I think we're going to see some Noah Clowney minutes just for the sake of, like, you have no Ben. Like, if you look on the app, Dorian Finney-Smith was technically listed as their center. Again, take what you can. The NBA app overall is kind of trash. But I think we're due for a Kristaps game for sure.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. His fit is just so good.
Oh, yeah.
The fit is perfect. Like, I mean, Al Horford, there's a reason why they brought him back because the fit was always there with the ability to defend and shoot the ball and, like, just structurally, he's a really smart player. And I think Kristaps has really found his home in terms of where they can utilize him to the best of his ability. 7'3", like, just monster on the defensive end. I think he's being used correctly as, a guy who can pick and pop, transition shooter, high post action, and like him and Tatum and Jalen, they look so good together. I think they're playing so well together, and like that's what I hope happens with Dame and Giannis, because the difference is Kristaps isn't an established all-star, but we all know that he's an all-star caliber player. But they're playing off one another. They're not overthinking the offensive end. They're not overthinking who has the ball. They're just playing. They're just hooping. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like, Missoula Ball, man, like, such a great coach. I mean, they've been so lucky to go from Brad Stevens to Udoka to Missoula. Like, they've had some really good coaches at the helm. Doc Rivers, like, was at his prime
I don't know if they've
so.
ever had like a bad coach.
No.
I don't think so. Like, I mean, you can go all the way back to the history of the Celtics. They've had Hall of Fame coaches.
Shout
man.
out to
Like,
Red.
Yeah, so it's good stuff, man.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say about them because I think they just like are playing probably some of the best basketball.
They're so fun. They're so fun to watch.
Like, I don't know. Like when you have Jaylen Brown, like having an off night, you have someone else giving you more, and like Jaylen Brown started the game against the Wizards specifically with like I think 25 and a half or like 22 and a half.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. If like they stay healthy, they could like low key run through everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like not a team in the like. I think once the Bucks establish themselves, there'll definitely be more of a conversation. I think this is just like an early take. But right now, if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, they would.
Oh, there's not a team in the league
They would
right now
fucking
that
run
could,
through
that could
everybody.
mess with them.
Maybe Philadelphia gives them 1 or 2 games at most, just with how they're
Yeah,
playing. But
I think Denver's the only team. I think that's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
I'm starting to think it's a Denver Celtics final. I mean,
Denver
at the
Celtics
moment.
final would be so much fun.
But, I
it's
mean,
hard to say
yeah.
though. You know, it's hard to say.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think it really depends how Milwaukee plays out the next 15 games. And in the West, like I genuinely believe that the Clippers have a chance if they can manage to work that out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think Sacramento is a really slept on. I feel like Sacramento could really be good, man.
Yeah.
Really feel
Hopefully Fox is back soon because he's also on my fantasy team.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of another team though, Golden State. I think they've looked really good.
CP3.
Man,
The fit is great, man.
for sure. And
Fit
even
is
like
great.
we're looking at how they were last year. You know, let's think about it like this. What were like the biggest like points about last year that they kind of sucked on? Pause.
I mean, I think one of the biggest points for them is like thinking like their core could be everything still. You know, like
Yeah.
not to say that's like something super noticeable, but like they're showing age in certain aspects. You know, maybe not Steph Curry, but Klay Thompson is not at the level he used to be at. He can't, always do what he used to do. Draymond is still an efficient player and is still that glue guy. But like, if those are the 3 guys you're relying on now, like, they're not the championship level players
for
that
sure.
they used to be, minus Steph Curry.
Big thing I'm thinking though, the road record
Yeah,
and
that was bad.
the no Steph minutes. Because it was what
Yeah.
last year it took until
Yeah.
December to get their first road
Yeah,
win?
they were. Oh my god, they were like 0 for 10 to start the year. Or something like that. It
And
was
then they were
insane.
like the best team out.
And I
home,
think
yeah.
their first road win was against like a non-Dame Portland team.
Yeah.
And even that game might have been still a bit of a grind. But yeah, that and the non-Steph minutes, because man,
They finally
Really?
have positive no Steph minutes
Yeah.
since CP3.
this is, I'm not gonna lie, this is an elite second unit. You got
CP3, man.
CP3, bro.
I'm sorry. I think you said it best. And sorry to jump in. It's just like CP. I think the theme that I've been using in this podcast in this episode is game manager.
Yeah.
Game manager. Him, Moody, Kuminga. That you look so good.
Dario
Mo-
Saric is another guy that fits
He's been
like a
playing
glove on
well.
that team.
Kojo, when he's gotten some minutes, has looked really good for that team. I think it's just, you remove a lot of what. I mean, like, let's be honest too. Like the monkey. Let's address the monkey in the room here, right? Like the Jordan Poole situation absolutely didn't help that team internally, and so you can see the disconnectedness on the floor.
Yeah.
Versus you have a guy like you have veteran leadership, Kojo, CP stepping in, Dario Saric, who's been around the league, like. He provides a lot of the things that Bielitsa did when he was there with Golden State during their championship year. So I think they've managed to do a good job of retooling, and CP gives them diversity on the offensive end, and he's still a really solid point of attack defender too.
Yeah.
And
sure.
so again, he's coming off the bench, but he looks so good in that role. I mean. Early 6 man of the year conversations for CP in terms of impact, like maybe
man,
not the
if
points.
If he keeps up, if he even brings it, as long as he gets it to like I think at least 10,
Yeah.
I think it's like no doubt.
Yeah, because I mean it's historically been a points role, but you can't.
If you're able to average double-digit assists off the bench, that's a no-brainer.
and look at his impact on the game, like man,
I don't know if
positive.
it's ever like it probably has, but I think it's rarely been done, if ever, like to average 10 assists off the bench.
Yeah, I can't remember a player ever doing that.
I don't even know if it's been done. It sounds like something that might have not ever been done.
I mean, CP has a chance. If he even if he does average 10 assists and doesn't hit the 10 points, I would give him 6 man of the year, and that team finishes top 4 in the West. And you look at his impact, you look at his analytics, like his efficiency.
Yeah.
Man, he's so good. Like CP is so like I love CP. He's one of my favorite players
He's one
ever.
of the best point guards of all time.
I think he
doubt.
might be the best point guard of all time.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, like, in terms of
As a
encapsulating
pure
the role,
point guard,
as like for the culture, sure, best of all time. Like, just
As a pure point guard,
But I mean,
think
who's the
it's
argument as
him
the
and
greatest?
Magic.
Like Magic, but the thing is, because Magic played multiple positions.
Yeah.
I mean, they slotted him at center for many years, and he was a CP. Man,
I think if we're looking at it also from the story of like the teams he's managed, I think it's kind of.
Yeah.
Has he ever missed the playoffs?
I don't think so. Let me double check on that. But I mean,
He came in
you-
05,
when you-
right?
When you think about it,
I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs. Maybe his first year in New Orleans. They had one really crappy year though.
they
New
didn't. He hasn't missed the playoffs since the 2009-2010 season.
And yeah, that was when they had massive injuries. No,
Yeah, he only played 45 games.
brother, CP is an all-timer.
Of course.
All-timer. It's like, do I think he's the greatest point guard ever? I honestly think so.
There's definitely.
I honestly think so. There's definitely conversation.
John Stockton is just a Karl Malone merchant, respectfully.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because like the PG rule, I think has just evolved over the years too.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely, because then if you look at it overall, you got to throw like James Harden in there too.
yeah, because the game of basketball, I think, has become like less about playing the exact position you play.
For sure.
Yeah, it's
Like more and
positionless
more-
basketball.
Yeah, it's positionless basketball, exactly. So that's why, in my opinion, and I think it's not a hot take these days because he's absolutely there. But I think when it goes down, Steph Curry is going to be the best point guard of all time. Like I think when it's really just all
Positionally, yeah. I mean, like he played the point guard position all his life.
yeah, and he's changed the game forever.
I guess if can we say then the best playmaker ever?
Best playmaker, like Chris Paul.
In terms of like getting guys involved.
Actually,
Oh, that's
I
not-
mean, wait,
Okay,
hold
you
on.
know, you know who else?
We're talking about like all positions. I don't know.
You know who my guy would be over Chris Paul in that situation then? LeBron James.
LeBron James. I think when it might be all said and done, my choice might be Jokic, to be honest.
Ooh,
Dude,
that's a good one.
Every fucking game he's making plays like.
Yeah.
and I think his vision, in my opinion, at his peak, is better than LeBron's vision.
I've never seen anybody bounce a ball off the backboard as a pass.
Yeah, his anticipation is insane. Like, he knows where players are going to be ahead of time. He doesn't panic. Like, have you ever seen Jokic panic on the offensive end?
No. Like, there was a play yesterday where he was driving up, I don't know against who, and, like, he stumbled and, like, he was, like, low, and he just dishes it to Aaron Gordon driving in. And Aaron Gordon makes, like, the finish, but, like, he wasn't even looking at Aaron Gordon before the play, you know? And it just...
There was that play yesterday too where they said Peyton Watson intercepted the pass.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Right. Yeah, that's a
Jokic is
good
special.
one. I think. Ooh.
When all said and done, yeah, Jokic is special. He might even be the best playmaker in the game right now.
Oh, 100%.
No doubt.
Actually, yeah, no doubt. That's not even a hot take.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's no doubt. There's no doubt he's the best playmaker. I mean, they centered a whole... Like, your center's playing point guard.
Yeah,
Like,
he's been
it's-
bringing up the ball, too. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see someone with the build of Jokic be as dominant as Jokic.
The way that he does. Because when people think about dominant, they're like, oh, physical presence, like Giannis, Shaq. But, like, he dominates the game by being smarter than everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he contributes more than any other center ever has. You know?
Yeah, let's harp on the Nuggets a bit more. Peyton Watson.
No. He looks so
Peyton
good.
Watson's a dog.
He looks really good.
Yeah, that team overall, I think everybody's just stepping up to the plate. Because I think you're seeing MPJ like really take a step in terms of rebounding the ball.
Yeah.
He's not so much of a shot chucker. Aaron Gordon showcased his ability
He's
to
looking
like.
really good, man.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon looks like he's taking a step up.
Oh yeah, that's looking like a steal of a contract for sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything much to say about Denver in the sense that, like, we know who
It's
they are.
just
Like, they're
yeah.
so good. Like, we talk about Celtics because, like, you know,
We didn't know where they were going to start.
yeah, and obviously we knew they were good, but it's like it's surprising that they've been this dominant so
Already.
far.
Yeah.
But Denver, like, they're 5-1 after last night's win against the Mavs. Like, are we surprised about them being 5-1? Like, not really, right? Like,
Yeah.
we thought they were going to take a step back, losing Bruce Brown Like, we thought they were going to take a step back.
Yeah, I thought it'd be
this
at least a little bit of a slow start. but-
Christian Brown has stepped in. Amazing. Peyton Watson. Amazing. Reggie Jackson,
Reggie
who
Jackson.
barely played last year,
Reggie
comes
Jackson.
in. He's playing big minutes.
Yeah.
Zeke Naji, like, he's been really good. Like, dude, the Denver, I think they're developing a little bit of a culture similar to Miami and Toronto, where they get
And it's
guys
not
out of the air.
corny. Too.
Yeah, they get guys out of the air, and it's like they can play in this system because you have a guy like Jokic who just makes everybody around him better or look like a stud. And so, I mean, I'm
They
not
got
saying
another one we haven't really even seen that much of. Julian Strother.
Yeah, I think it's just like the only way to beat Denver right now is stop them early. You know, like that's the only way they lost this season. I mean, they've only lost one game this season.
how do you play Jokic? Like, you can't load up on him.
No,
You can't play one-on-one. You just got to hope that this team just doesn't make their shots. And I think that's how they lost games last year, simply because Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and MPJ were struggling on the floor, and Jokic couldn't hit shots. Like, but they have so many shot makers and shot creators and playmakers and defensive, like, man. I love Denver, man. Watching them is so fun. If you don't like watching Jokic, like, I've seen people who are like, yeah, Jokic isn't fun to watch. Or like,
I feel like Jokic is the barometer of how you judge someone if they
like basketball, or like they know their basketball.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair take too, because like he just hasn't been labeled as the best player for a long time, and like if
He's the best player in the world.
if
right
you still don't think he's the best player in the world, you are smoking some good shit. Like, I don't know.
I've never seen a guy who steps into the basketball court and goes, yeah, I'm just going to kill everyone today, and I'm going to do it while looking like I don't like this game. Like, the guy likes horses.
Jokic is. I
Like-
feel like he's gonna like almost fade into existence once he's retired.
So much like Tim Duncan did, almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, Tim Duncan dominated the
Like
game.
Jokic is gonna pop up. He gonna have braids like Timmy.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine who with braids?
No, I
Bro, I
can't.
could.
No, way.
I could. Bro, someone someone photoshopped that.
I don't know about braids, but I can see him having like a long mane.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Or like a or like a mullet or something. Yo.
Oh, if Jokic had a mullet, that would be tough.
That would be tough,
That would
right?
be so tough.
Oh my god.
All right, any other flowers y'all want to give out?
I feel like I have one more. Well, I did say Luca MVP. Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, Max.
Playing great ball.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
30 points right now. Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Yeah.
it's been hooping for
It's good.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Donovan Mitchell's also been hooping. I think it's just the team has not been healthy, and
Yeah.
sure.
They've been up and down.
I think they had their first healthy game yesterday with everybody, but that's
did
obviously.
they have Darius Garland playing yesterday too?
Yeah, DG
Oh, they
and
did.
Jared.
But
played.
they lost to Indiana last
Yeah.
night, right? So
Yeah.
it's a tough one, but I think Cleveland, like I said last week in the other pod, I think Cleveland's still going to be top 3 in the East.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just need to like, again,
Yeah.
homogenize together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modernize like that milk.
Handies dandies.
Glaze. Gat.
Oh man. Let's check in on the rookies. How y'all feeling about this class so far?
Let's mesh the two. Let's give flowers to Wemby, dude. He looks like a generational talent after 5 games.
Wemby.
Oh my god.
everyone knows how good he is right now.
Yeah, everybody's glazing him for good reason.
Bro, Wemby
Given
is
38 to
insane.
like the best offensive team in the league on paper right now, until maybe a few weeks or a few days ago.
Yeah.
man.
Wemby looks incredible. That whole team looks solid.
Yeah, that's
actually.
first team overall. You know, big like blow. They're gonna lose Devin Vassell for a little bit.
Yeah.
Dealing with a little bit of a groin issue, but yeah, that team's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, special.
And I think it is because of Wemby though. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he has garnered so much attention on the court that the other players, like kind of how we mentioned with a lot of other players we've mentioned in the podcast today, that like when a player is on the court like James Harden or like Giannis or like Dame, like or whoever, like it gives more attention to that player, and every other player like flourishes because
Yeah.
we were talking about Jokic just now. Like every other player looks good right now. Because to be honest, that fucking Spurs team looked like shit last year. Like
Yeah,
they were playing for
real,
fun,
yeah.
and now that they're competing against every team they're playing.
You know what it is? I feel like when we think about a lot of the superstars in the league today, they have that level of gravity, but there's something you can do to mitigate it. You know, the only one that I think has that level of gravity that you can't like have a counter for is really Jokic.
Yeah.
And I think Wemby's gonna step into that light too, because
because already you don't know how to guard him,
yeah,
and you can't go on the defensive end and exert him because he can guard smalls. Like, it's just insane. Have you like seeing him keep up with guards on a switch? I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I think he's better than Bam at it already.
oh man, the even before the season started, that Wiggins possession where he like kept up with him step for step.
And then he blocked him. He blocked his stuff to space. Yeah.
It almost forces teams to have to choose and shoot the ball throughout the whole night because Wemby's on the court.
He covers so much space.
There's gonna be days where like a team gets like less than 20 points in the paint when Wemby's in there.
They'll shoot themselves out the game because of Wemby.
For sure.
Yeah, I think the only guy. Have they played Boston?
No,
I don't think so.
I think the only like kind of unicorn type of player he's played so far is KD.
And that was a fun matchup.
That was
fun.
There was like a tweet saying, "Were the odds we get an iconic photo?" Got one.
Yeah, special. But KD's so special too, man. The way he got that shot over in the right corner against Wemby, it's just full contest too. You forget that KD has a 7'4" wingspan too, or something like that. Something insane.
He makes KD look small though.
He does. Yeah. That's insane, right? Like, who never thought someone would make KD look small? Like, he makes KD look like a guard.
For real.
Yeah.
Brandon Miller. I think he's been a bit of like, I don't know if sleeper's the right word, but with the minutes he's been given, he's been looking nice.
Yeah, he's on a bad team, but he's been looking good. Chet. Oh my gosh,
bro. Chet's been like everything and then some.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Scoot has had some up and downs, but I think I like the flashes that we've seen from him so far.
I think Scoot's who was like the rookie class last year? That was what? That was like Chet.
Was it Paulo's here?
Yeah. But anyways, I think I can't think of like an exact like not the word replica, but somebody who had like the same thing where they struggled through the first half of the year. But I think Scoot, his big thing, I think he just needs to settle down. I think he's trying to like really grab the keys and try to drive the car. But I think you just got to settle a little bit, make the right play.
Being a lead guard in the NBA is difficult, man.
Yeah.
Especially when you get given the keys right off the bat. It's difficult, but I think he can do it. He's such a talented player that I think he'll figure it out. And I think with experience, the game will slow down over time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, but he's looked so good in the moments that he has. Like, he's really been able to put on a show. So.
Yeah, I think I was talking about this with someone, but it happens with I think any rookie guard like that position specifically.
I think point guard's probably the hardest to transition to, like, skill wise.
Yeah, from school to league, because I mean we saw with Trae Young, saw with Jalen Green.
The game is so fast.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Trae Young struggled a little bit out the game.
Yeah,
the game is really fast. Like, everyone says, like, what's the difference between the college game or where you came from to NBA game? They just go speed and physicality and athleticism. And the rules. Yeah. So, I mean, for a point guard to have to manage all of that, especially a guy like Scooty didn't play in the college game, like, it's a bit of a transition. He played in the G League, and that's the closest thing to NBA, but, again, man.
How are you feeling about, like, the Ignite and, like, these college alternatives recently?
Like, overtime and stuff? Like, I think that's the vibe nowadays.
Asar Thompson is looking really good. To talk about that.
The Thompson twins overall, they just know how to play like basketball.
Yeah.
They play it. They're gonna be those guys where the first thing any commentator says about them, he just plays the game the right way.
Yeah. They can do everything on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like Asar Thompson's game. I think he's been playing like his stat lines are like 15, 6 and 5, 2 blocks, 2 steals. And
I almost don't know because Bojan's not really playing. He's I think injured or something.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know if you start him.
I think
you let that grow for sure.
Yeah.
Pause.
I think Bojan's probably a trade candidate. Glazing the gat.
Let it grow. Oh man.
Let it grow. Let it grow.
Yeah. Is there any other rookies that have really been getting a lot of burn though?
We already mentioned Derek Lively. He's been
Oh,
getting
yeah,
a
he's
decent
been-
amount.
Yeah,
he's been playing really well.
he's been playing really well.
The
yeah.
one person I'm surprised hasn't been getting a lot of burn is Jarris Walker.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were mentioning, I think like the idea of him and Miles Turner as a defensive duo is nutty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin's been taking his minutes, but
Yeah.
he looks good. Grady Dick looks good too.
Oh
He's
yeah,
been
yeah.
doing the little things, and
Let's
he's
see
been
you
shooting
glaze
the
that
ball.
dick.
Hey man, he's been really good. Like he's already a small. He's already a little plays kind of guy. Like he makes little things happen. Rebound, being in the right position. He's shooting the ball well. I mean, he's a key part of the rotation when people were questioning whether or not he would be part of the rotation early in preseason. But now he's playing really well for the Raptors. So I'm almost at this point where it's like you gotta build around Scotty and Grady.
I like that. Oh, that's such a charismatic duo too.
Yeah, it's fun, and they're a marketable duo, and they've already been marketed really well. Those two, so got to put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Prop that dick up.
Damn. Damn.
Any other rookies really getting burned like that?
I think at this point in the season, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see it play out throughout the year, but I think the key names we've mentioned, like the ones who have really been making an impact so far. I feel like we're missing one though.
Let's see. We've touched on. I mean, Cason Wallace, Jordan Hawkins, and Bilal Coulibaly.
Bilal Coulibaly's been getting some run with Washington.
Yeah.
But again, he's kind of the guy that's like, for me, he's a year away from being a year away kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely more of a project.
Yeah, he's gonna be a project, but I think he'll be in the same realm of an OG Anunoby when all said and done.
That's what he's
his career.
projecting as.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a lot of what's it called, Keontae George.
Yeah, it was difficult because Utah's got so many guards.
Yeah, so I think come trade deadline, depending on where
Yeah.
they're at, because someone's go bite on that Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I think Utah's. I think it's interesting now we talk about it. Like I think the trade deadline's going to have a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
I think the trade deadline's going to be insane. Hopefully.
no doubt. Alrighty, to end it off, I got a little game for us to play. We're going to call it the eye test. So I'm going to give you guys someone's stat line, and you got to guess who it is. You have a maximum of 10 yes or no questions. And you're just trying to, we're going to go, so like last time it was like a little bit of a duo grouping here.
Yeah.
For here, this is like one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But we get 10 questions each for this player?
Or all together. Probably all together,
Yeah.
because then by that time, with 20 questions,
Yeah,
we got to
true.
figure out the guy is. Hey, what's the second letter of his name? What's the third letter of his
No,
name?
I'm thinking more so like,
Team.
conference,
Yeah.
team, stuff like that. All right, we'll start it off easy here. So this guy's averaging 33, 10, and 9 on 55, 44, and
Jokic.
74 splits.
Jokic.
So you don't have to guess off the bat. If you want to like get a conference or anything.
Is
you
it an
can do that
Eastern
too.
Conference player?
Anthony Davis?
No.
Oh, Luca.
But okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My
Sorry. So this
Sorry.
one's more so like back
we
and
got-
forth.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
back and forth.
Okay.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I was trying to think.
Okay, we can get that point to both of us.
Yeah, we'll call that a half. All right. This guy's averaging 19, 3, and 7 on 47, 33, and 89 splits. Let's start with Chin.
Is he a Western Conference player?
Yes.
Is it Fred VanVleet?
Is his team in a playoff position right now? So 1 to 10?
Let me double check on the standing. Should be, though. Let me double check that, though.
19, 7 and 10? No, sorry. 19, 3 and 10?
Yeah, 19, 3, and 7, you said?
Shit. 3 and 7.
19, 3, and 7. Yes. And yes, they're in a playoff position right now.
Western Conference, right?
Is it a guard?
Yes.
Playoffs. That's an interesting stat line.
Yeah. 3 rebounds, 7 assists.
Yeah, so it's PRA for the order
Yeah.
of that.
Is it Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, this one's I think you're gonna be like, damn.
Is it in the California California
Like, do they play in
division?
Cali?
Yeah, is it a California division?
Yes, that's a really
Okay.
good way to narrow it down.
I think I know who
LT
it is.
Shin.
And he's a guard.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who it is.
I feel like you got to guess here, else he's probably gonna get the point. So let's review here. 19-3-7, Western Conference guard, plays in Cali.
Fuck. Well, there's only so many players in Cali.
Yeah, so I feel like
I think you got to get this because this one, I think it's on the tip of my tongue.
you got to guess here. I feel.
Okay, he doesn't play first. I don't think he plays for Golden State. Oh shit! Hold on. No. 19 points. Yo, man, why am I fucking tripping right now?
You got to get this.
Okay, 19 points,
Okay,
3 rebounds, 7 assists,
Sacramento.
47 from the field, 33 from the 3, and 89% from the line.
I might have to.
Just throw out a name.
Yeah.
I felt like this would have been Russell Westbrook, but I just don't know who's given 19 right now, and who's in Cali.
I think they're on my fantasy team. That's why I think I know.
Oh, shoot.
Fuck, dude, like who is this? Yeah, I'm gonna pass to Ruben. I want him to have it.
Damn.
I just
Is it
want to know-
D'Lo?
Yeah.
Fuck,
I had it. Yeah.
dude. Why did
He's,
I not think
he's having a quite solid season.
Bro, yeah. Because we were like last part, we were like, yeah, D'Lo needs to go to the bench.
Yeah, but then the last
Yeah.
few games he's really stepped it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's totally true. I was just thinking about how D'Lo has actually been stepping up.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, he's been good.
next one.
That's
The guy is averaging 15, 5, and 8 on 30, 26, and 81 splits.
Ooh, is it Fat Man Vliet?
No. They got goofy for sure.
is he an Eastern Conference player?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, hold on.
Eastern Conference.
Conference.
Okay, it's doing this now.
Yeah.
I think I know who it is.
Was this team in the playoffs last year?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's LaMelo Ball.
Ooh, quick snipes. Yeah.
Fuck, because he's on my fantasy team.
Yes. He's on mine too. Yeah.
I knew it.
I got him because man, I picked him last year. It's like I think my first round pick.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Yeah,
lost that.
he was first round stats last year, man.
Yeah. Alrighty. We're flying through this. Okay, next one. 21, 9, and 5 on 52, 39, and 83 splits.
21, 9, and 5.
52 from the field, 39 from the 3, 83 from the line.
Is it Desmond Bain?
Dang, right off rip. No, sorry. It's not Desmond Bain.
Oh, what the fuck?
I take that back. Scotty Barnes.
Oh, fuck.
Because we talked about it. 39 from 3, 21, 9 and 5.
Damn, okay.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes.
I had you on Desmond though.
Yeah.
He's 25 though right now. I think Desmond's
Yeah, he's
averaging at
probably
25 right
more
now.
than 21.
Yeah, because he had 33 yesterday.
Yeah, he's got to be.
All right.
This guy's averaging 15, 4, and 4, 64, 57, 80 splits.
Ooh, 64, 57, 80. That's not.
I think we need some guesses here. Is he?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. You're
Ruben's
right.
next.
Eastern Conference team.
Yes.
15. Sorry, 15.
15, 4, and 4.
15, 4 and 4. Eastern Conference team.
Is he a guard?
Yes.
Is he playing for the Celtics?
Yes.
Oh,
Easy Oh, we kind of gave it to you. You got to get this.
Okay, I got one of the guards on my team, and I think this sounds right, but are we allowed to know? But that's a question, because the thing is, I think I haven't been keeping up with one of the guards, the one that's not on my fantasy team, and I don't know if he's been playing like that. I think it's Derek White.
Yes, sir.
Oh, fuck.
All right, what's the score right now?
That would have been fraudulent.
I think I've got 3. You got 2. Right,
I got Derek White,
Scotty, D'Lo, and Luca.
and I got Derek
Okay.
White and LaMelo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go first to 5. But I only had like 5 ready, so let me
good,
bring
all
these up. Okay, this guy is averaging 27 and 2 on 46, 39, and 82 splits.
I'm the first one
Yeah.
this time, right? Is he a Western Conference player?
Yes.
Is he playing for the Grizzlies?
Yes.
Oh, I gave it to you.
Bro,
I gave it to you.
It is Garen Jackson Jr.
Yes,
I
sir.
should have just guessed it. I knew it. No, I should have just guessed it. I should have just guessed it.
I was
wanted
thinking
to be
Jared
sure.
Jackson.
You like had it all.
I wanted to be sure.
My mind was kind of there, and it was like,
Okay.
I wanted to be sure.
Next one. 22, 3, and 7 on
I think I know who this is.
40, 41, and 86
Oh, okay, I
splits.
think I know who this is.
86.
I feel like I know who this is.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want to guess off
I
rip?
gotta give a guess.
Dang.
But who the fuck is that? 22, 3, and 7.
I feel like I know who this is.
Has he been shooting from the 3? My guess is so haphazard. I don't think it's right. But it feels like it could
Throw
be.
it out.
Is it LeBron James?
No.
Is it Fred VanVleet?
No.
Damn.
Damn, bro.
Because he shoots terribly from the field, but I think his 3-point percentage is okay.
I was like, maybe LeBron been shooting well.
He had like a 6 3-point game the other week.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Ooh. Is it Jamal Murray?
No. That's a good guess though.
Is it a Western Conference team?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, 22, 3, and 7 is a Jamal Murray
Yeah.
stat line.
Is it
It's in the East, though, right?
Is it a guard?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't know why I asked that.
What you got? What you got? Ruben in
I'm
there.
putting 2 and 2 together. Is it Dame?
Not Dame.
Is it Tyrese Maxey?
No. I
He's
know,
averaging-
it's not Maxey because he's
Yeah.
averaging 30 right now.
Oh shit, is he?
Is it Jordan Poole?
No.
No, he ain't fucking out. He's had a lot of like below 20 point per game appearances.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the East.
We got an Eastern Conference player.
He's a guard.
Eastern Conference guard. You don't want to take a question? You're just going to go for a guess?
Yeah, I feel like I gotta. Is it Tyrese
Keep it
Halliburton?
open so that I don't catch it right away.
Who's that? Tyrese Halliburton?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think so. Fuck.
Were they on the playoff team last year?
No.
Okay, that dumbs it down.
Ooh, yeah. Let's think about who was Cheeks in the Eastern Conference.
22,
last
3,
year.
and 7 a guard on a Cheeks team last year.
I'm in. Yeah, can I just make sure? I just gotta clarify that this team is, this is like a.
I'm not searching,
I
man.
feel like you gotta
might
use
be-
your question to clarify.
This
if
might
you
be
do.
like just like a
Oh,
lack of
man.
self confidence here because I'm just trying to remember my East and West. But is it Cade Cunningham?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
But that honestly, knowing they were Cheeks is like there could only be a few more players.
That was a good one.
I'm at 4.
Speaking of, I think so. Yeah,
4-3.
4 to
Yeah,
3.
I got 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
The comeback season is real.
Cade Cunningham, man, having a good
Yeah,
season.
he's having a
Yeah.
good season.
All right, this guy is averaging 19, 4, and 2 on 39, 35, and 89 splits. It's like-
Oh.
19, 4, and 2. Oh, I feel like this is the player we just mentioned. Is it Jordan Poole?
no, that's a good guess though. Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma?
Okay, I'll ask a question. Is he an Eastern Conference player?
Is it Fred VanVleet?
No.
So those should be
Is it a
splits.
guard?
Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be 19, 4, and 2, but it's probably oh. Ask if it was on a playoff team last year.
I just asked a question, didn't
Yeah, it's on you.
Oh, is it a playoff team from last year?
No.
I think
Ruben needs this one to extend it.
Is it Devin Vassell?
is it Jalen Green?
Yes, sir.
I had a feeling.
Ooh.
Yeah, he
okay.
don't put anything else up besides points.
Yeah, bro.
That's true.
Brother does nothing.
Yeah.
Except pipe his homies.
Oh, the glaze.
Oh man, yeah, he's definitely a bit more than a Glazer.
Oh my god.
Okay.
For the all for the marbles, yo.
Okay, let's see here. Who am I trying to
Give us
bring
a
up?
tough one, yo.
Yeah, okay.
One where we gotta ask multiple questions, yo. But low-key someone we still kind of
maybe
know.
we just ask questions until we figure it out.
Hey, okay, let me think here.
Does his name start with a Z? Zekanaji? Or someone so obvious that we just wouldn't know.
Let's see here.
Is it Kobe Bryant? 0000. Sorry, yo. Sorry, guys, yo.
Damn, that's great. Okay, for
I'm
the
gonna
win.
cancel for that, yo.
This
I love
guy
Kobe.
is averaging 12, 3, and 0.8 assists, so we'll say 0 on 49, 30, and 68 splits.
12, 3, and 0.
Yeah. So let's start here for all the marbles here.
Is it a team on the Raptors?
No.
Is it a team on the Raptors? Is it a play on the Raptors? God damn. Is it Nick Collison?
Is it an Eastern Conference player?
No.
But he hasn't dished it out once this season?
Well, he's averaging 0.8.
Okay.
So
Like,
he's had 1 or 2 assists.
Okay.
on the season, he's had. Let me confirm here. He's had 4 assists on the season, but he's played. Actually, I can't give that away because that might give it away. But he's had 4 assists so far.
Okay.
Is it a Western Conference team?
Yep.
Is he a starter?
No.
Was it on a playoff team last year?
Yes.
Is it Jonathan Kuminga?
Ooh.
Was it?
Yes, sir.
Chin takes a dub.
Chin got this one. And with that, this has been another episode of the Black Top Podcast. The first one with the audio all good. Was y'all got any last people to glaze or things to say?
I don't got anybody to glaze, bro. I got, hey, man. Yeah.
I got you on a glaze.
All right. With that, stay safe, stay blessed. See y'all soon.
I had a feeling you were thinking of Jonathan Kuminga. That was just an intuition thing.
Back shots.